Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mayor's Monday Morning Message. And we're here today to share with you some information about some meetings that we had last week and about some things that are coming up. And first of all, I want to thank Cliff Kern here from White Rose Television. This week we're actually getting a professional job here on our outreach effort. And so coming up soon, these messages will be available so that you can go back and see what we talked about through the weeks and what we said we would do, and hopefully you'll be able to see that we are doing what we say. First, I wanted to start off with the memorial of, we lost, I know there were even more than these three, but these three major folks that are that we lost this week. Bill Shintz, who's a friend of mine, passed away after 60 years of being a photographer around the city, and just and a personal photographer for the families. It was funny. I saw in the paper yesterday he had a photo of Jimmy Carter in Lewisberry in 1974. Actually, I have a picture that Bill Shintz took of me at that same event up on my dad's shoulders when Jimmy Carter was visiting us here in York. So Bill and I go way back, even if he didn't remember it all that way. But really appreciate the time I got to spend with him and the things that I learned from him, and also all the wonderful history that he shared with the city. Also, we lost a retired officer, Ed Smith, who spent many years protecting us, and got his hat shot right off the top of his head over in Fern Place, and told me stories about that. So I want to express my condolences for the loss of Ed Smith, and then of course everyone knows Bonnie Grimes and the amazing things that he was able to do for our community. It's too much to even retell just a little bit that I caught at the end of his life. It's mostly stories other people were telling me, but also when he would come over to Martin Luther King Park, and he was one of the original Cadorus Street folks. For those that don't know, Cadorus Street was a really strong African American community that came out of the migrations from Bamberg, South Carolina in the 1920s. And a lot of our great family names from around the city, the Hawkinses, the Jennerets, Kirklands, many more, came from that time period. And due to actions taken by the leaders then in the 50s and 60s, they actually lost their community. But most of them have not lost their community spirit, and they're still working hard. And Vonnie worked until the end, as any of you saw him just in the last year or so, still out there being an ambassador of class. He's an ambassador of class, and it's funny. I do some work with April Collier, that and other relatives of Vonnie's and other grandchildren, and they all say the same thing: is that he taught us how to be good people, real people, and I'm just glad to see his legacy continuing. There has been a question on. Oh, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to not mention his wife Lorraine and all her good works. I'm actually waiting for a phone call from her to give approval or give her opinion on the idea of changing Vonnie Grimes Gym to Vonnie Grimes Community Center, Memorial Community Center, whatever name we want to choose. But wanted to make sure that the family got the first choice in how we progress on that. And thank you to the hundreds of people that have reached out to me with your opinions. I know some folks don't want to see a change from the name Vonnie Grimes Gym. That's what it's been for a while now. Others like the idea of it becoming a community center and something bigger for the community. So I'm still listening to everyone, but honestly, the family is really going to direct me on how we move forward on the naming of Vonnie Grimes Gym. And services, memorials will be held for him later this week, and we're also talking with the family about what other activities around the city we want to have in remembrance of all of the great things that he has done for the people of York City and beyond. Wanted to talk to you about my trip with Chief Bankert to John Jay College on Friday to talk about the group violence initiative. I have really, really great news. After meeting with them, they told us that York is more on track to implement their program than really anywhere else that they've worked with. We are putting together not only the legal resources, but the community resources to help the people get what they need so that they can either never get into the criminal activity or are able to steer themselves away and get back on the kind of the straight and narrow path. I know many of you don't understand the group violence initiative. It hasn't been communicated really properly. The fact is that we do not want our young people to go to jail. We want to do anything that we can to keep our young people out of jail. So what we are doing is we are reaching out. Now, we're doing a lot of police work to make sure that we know who is doing what around the city. But not everybody involved, not every 12, 14, 16, 20-year-old is a ruthless criminal. There are people that are making some bad choices, and we're trying to make sure that they have the skill training, job training, career placement, anything that their families might need, like food or diapers, anything, to get them to go the right direction. I know there's an idea out there that we're just trying to throw everybody in jail. And while some people need to go there because they won't make the right choices, that's not the goal here. And part of the group violence initiative is also reaching out and taking care of to make sure the victims' families have what they need. And I got to tell you that I had just a wonderful meeting with the manager of the program, Jim Tice, and we figured out how we could get help with funeral arrangements, help for the families, and get it to them immediately. Get it to them within hours so that the avalanche of stress that comes along with that situation can be lightened a little bit by them knowing, hey, the city's there for them. We're going to try and make sure that funeral arrangements are made. Some of these families don't have the means to do that, and between not having the means and having the stress of just losing a loved one, we really want to be there for those families and show that York is a place where we take care of our own. And so I'm very excited about that. And actually in our meeting with David Kennedy and the folks from John Jay College that have kind of created this program and are still creating this program, they said that our movement to bring more services into the community is really the next step of the group violence initiative. So I hope maybe as we talk, maybe as I talk, maybe as you ask me questions, the city will get to understand more about the group violence initiative, understand that this isn't an effort to go out and just do a sting and round up everybody. It's actually the exact opposite of that. It's to find out who's doing what and then find out who can we help. Now, in the end, those that refuse our help, we have to separate them from society. If they're going to be out there shooting and randomly hitting grandmothers and 12-year-olds on bicycles, those folks have to be removed. But that's not our goal. Our goal is to help everybody be as good as they can be. We'll let folks know that more of the changes that I am hoping to implement are starting to occur and coming up starting this week. The folks that were part of my transition team of how we plan to implement things are now the implementation teams. We're having these meetings starting this week with economic development, community development. We're so there's a whole nother team, not just the city employees, but a whole nother team that's working on making the improvements we want to see here in the city. We're working with economic development on getting more assets available to more resources available to help people develop businesses and develop housing here in the city. Our community development is really expanding. We had a great meeting with the state and the Salem Square Community Association about how we're going to be able to make incredible improvements on the west side. So I'm very, very excited about that. I live out there. It's my home. I don't want to see it be known as the most violent section of York City. It's unacceptable. We can't have that for our friends and families and neighbors. So I'm very excited that the state is looking forward to working with us more on developing projects out there. Of course, we're going to keep working in the rest of the city, but we have an opportunity there because of a special designation from the state to really put a lot of resources into the west side. Finally, coming up later this week is the beginning of African American History Month. And first, I wanted to thank Kayo for the donation, Kayo Malomo. You may be seeing more of him. He's a gentleman originally from Africa who is a resident of York now, and he just recently joined the board of Salem Square. He donated this beautiful painting that he had made of the drummers, African drummers, and I wanted to thank him for that. Also wanted to thank Dr. and Pastor McMillan for giving me the honor of being an honoree for the beginning of Black History Month here with the African American Love Feast that they have every year. This is the 24th year. And it'll be this Sunday, February 4th, right before the Super Bowl. It'll be done before the Super Bowl, so don't worry, you can come out and join us. The theme at the African American Love Feast this year is Yes, I Can, and it is at the Wyndham Garden. I just want to mention some of the other honorees. Ms. Octavia Bostic, Ms. Janice E. Brown, Ms. Shavanya Corbin Johnson, Ms. Rain Dixon, Mr. Barry Freeland, Ms. Teresa Johnson, Mrs. Joanna Martin, Mrs. Evelyn Negron, Ms. Renee Nelson, Deacon Lewis Nolden, Senator Scott Wagner, Pastor Nate Pritchard, and myself are the honorees, the 2018 honorees. So I want to thank them and the congregation of Emmanuel Church of God in Christ for this honor and all of their work. Again, 24 years they've been doing this. Tickets are still available at 854-1047. You can call Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 2 p.m. I'm not sure if tickets are still available. Wasn't able to get in touch with them in the time. But it's a wonderful event that they have out at Wyndham Gardens, out by the West Manchester Mall. So if you're available and you want something really wonderful, both spiritual and community oriented, before you get all fired up for the Super Bowl, it's a great way to celebrate the beginning of African American History Month. And again, thank you to Dr. and Pastor McMillan, and for all your work out on the east side. I can't wait to help with the new community center there at the old St. Joseph School, and seeing what more you, your congregation, your neighbors, and the city is going to do for our community, not just on the east side, but all over. So I think that's my message for today. Thank you all, and please remember we have a new email if you need to get in touch with me, mayorsoffice@yorkcity.org. So that's all one word, mayorsoffice@yorkcity.org. And when I can, I'm on Facebook and all that. Feel free to reach out, and look forward to the events this weekend, celebrating the amazing life of Bonnie Grimes. Thank you very much. Have a great week.